The atmosphere around Celtic has shifted in a way few supporters could have predicted not long ago. After a stretch earlier in the season that left many questioning where things were heading, the mood now feels completely different. With the team preparing to return to Celtic Park this weekend, there is a growing sense of anticipation among the fans. Saturday's match carries serious weight, not just because of the opponent, but because it represents another chance for Celtic to keep building momentum at a crucial stage of the campaign. Only a short time ago, it felt entirely possible that by this point in the season the conversation would be very different. Many supporters feared the team might already be out of the Scottish Cup, drifting too far away in the league title race, and with European hopes long gone. Instead, the situation has taken a surprising turn. Celtic have managed to give themselves something meaningful to fight for in the final months of the season, and that alone has brought a renewed energy around the club. There is still a strong understanding within the squad and the coaching staff that nothing has been achieved yet. Progress in recent weeks has helped steady things, but the job is far from complete. The message coming from inside the club has been clear. The hard work over the past few matches does not automatically guarantee anything moving forward. The results have opened a door, but Celtic still need to walk through it. That sense of perspective has been important. The players know that if they allow themselves to become complacent now, everything they have worked to rebuild could disappear quickly. However, the fact that there is still something to chase makes the final stretch of the season feel far more exciting than many expected. In fact, when you consider everything the club has been through this year, the idea that Celtic could still finish with a domestic double would be nothing short of remarkable. Following the weekend victory, the squad were given a couple of days away from training. It was a small but potentially important decision, allowing the players to recharge both physically and mentally. After such an intense run of matches, that brief break offered the opportunity for a reset before the final push begins. In modern football, where schedules can feel relentless, those small windows of recovery can sometimes make a bigger difference than people realize. Behind the scenes, preparations for the upcoming fixtures have continued at full speed. Members of the coaching staff have already been closely monitoring future opponents, attending matches, and gathering as much information as possible. It is the kind of groundwork that often goes unnoticed, but it plays a vital role when the margins between winning and losing become incredibly small. One player who has found himself increasingly in the spotlight recently is goalkeeper Viljami Sinosalo. His journey into the starting lineup has been an interesting one, especially considering how limited his opportunities were earlier in the season. At one stage, he had only featured in a handful of matches, and those appearances were scattered across different competitions rather than coming as part of a consistent run. When he first stepped in during a cup match earlier in the year, there were understandable signs of hesitation. For a goalkeeper, rhythm and confidence are essential, and it is difficult to immediately perform at your best when you have barely played competitive football. Yet over the past few weeks, Sinosalo has begun to settle, and with each performance he appears more comfortable commanding his area. Teammates have noticed the difference as well. Defenders often speak about the importance of trust when it comes to their goalkeeper, and when a keeper is confident coming off his line to claim crosses or corners, it can bring a huge sense of relief to the entire back line. That calm presence can quickly spread throughout the team, especially in high-pressure moments. There was a time earlier in the campaign when questions surrounded the goalkeeping situation at Celtic. A difficult performance in one particular match left the crowd frustrated, and the atmosphere inside the stadium reflected that tension. Moments like that can sometimes define a season if they are not addressed quickly. But football rarely follows a predictable script, and now the narrative has shifted again. For Sinosalo, this run of games could become a defining chapter in his Celtic story. Opportunities at big clubs do not always arrive when players expect them, and when they do appear, the challenge is to seize them fully. The coming weeks will give him the chance to prove that he can handle the responsibility on a consistent basis. At the same time, the focus is not only on the goalkeeper. Injury concerns have started to appear within the squad, particularly surrounding captain Callum McGregor. The midfielder has been one of Celtic's most dependable figures for years, and his influence on the pitch cannot be overstated. Whenever he is unavailable, even for a short period, it naturally raises questions about how the team will adapt. The remarkable thing about McGregor's season so far is the sheer volume of football he has played. Before missing the most recent match, He had started 42 consecutive games for Celtic across all competitions. That alone is impressive, but the deeper statistics reveal just how extraordinary his workload has been. Across those 42 matches, the total playing time adds up to thousands of minutes, yet McGregor missed barely any of it. In fact, over that entire stretch, he was absent for only a tiny fraction of the minutes Celtic were on the pitch. Since late October, during a period when the team was often playing twice a week, there were only 2 minutes of football where Celtic were competing and McGregor was not involved. When you think about that level of consistency, it becomes clear why managing his fitness is such an important issue. His attitude has always been admirable. Throughout his career, he has shown a relentless desire to play whenever possible, believing that if he is physically able, he should be out there helping the team. That mentality is one of the reasons supporters admire him so much. However, there is also a growing feeling that sometimes the club must protect players from pushing themselves too far. As experienced professionals get older, balancing their minutes becomes essential if they are to maintain their highest level over a long season. McGregor remains central to everything Celtic do on the pitch. His ability to dictate tempo, organize the midfield, and provide leadership during difficult moments makes him one of the most influential figures in the squad. That is why any hint of an injury concern naturally becomes a major talking point among the supporters as the team approaches a demanding run of fixtures. As Celtic look ahead to the next phase of the season, the fixture list begins to take center stage in conversations among supporters. The schedule over the coming weeks is unusual in one sense, because the matches are spread out slightly more than they were during the intense winter period. For a squad that has spent months juggling multiple competitions and constant midweek games, having mostly weekend fixtures could prove to be a real advantage. The immediate focus is the league encounter against Motherwell at Celtic Park. It is the kind of match that can easily become tricky if the home side fails to start with the right intensity. Motherwell have often shown they are capable of making life uncomfortable for bigger teams, particularly when they sense any hesitation. Celtic will know that maintaining concentration from the opening whistle will be essential if they want to keep their positive run going. Following that, the team face a trip to Tannadice to take on Dundee United in an early lunchtime kickoff. Those fixtures can sometimes feel slightly unpredictable. The atmosphere, the timing, and the rhythm of the match can all feel a bit different compared to the traditional afternoon kickoffs. Still, it represents another opportunity for Celtic to collect vital points before the final international break of the campaign. That break arrives at an interesting moment. After months of relentless football, players will scatter across the world to join their national teams, while others remain behind to continue training. For some members of the squad, it offers a chance to recover physically, especially those who have been managing minor knocks. For others, international duty can provide a boost of confidence if they return with strong performances. Once the domestic calendar resumes, Celtic will travel once again to Dundee, this time facing Dundee Football Club at Dens Park. Away matches like that can often become intense battles, particularly as the season edges closer to its decisive stage. Every club is chasing something by that point, whether it is points to climb the table or points to escape danger, and that desperation tends to raise the intensity on the pitch. Shortly after that, Celtic will encounter St Mirren twice in quick succession. The first meeting comes in the league at Celtic Park, before the sides meet again soon after in the Scottish Cup semi-final at Hampden Park. Playing the same opponent twice within such a short period always creates an intriguing dynamic. Both teams quickly become familiar with each other's approach, which means small tactical adjustments can make a huge difference. Interestingly, St Mirren could be entering those matches during a period of uncertainty. There have been strong indications that their manager, Stephen Robinson, may soon be moving on to a new challenge. If that change does happen, it could significantly affect the atmosphere around the club just as they approach some of their most important fixtures of the season. Managerial departures often create unpredictable reactions within squads. Sometimes players respond with renewed determination, eager to prove themselves under new leadership. Other times the disruption can cause performances to dip while everyone adjusts to the new situation. From Celtic's perspective, it simply adds another layer of uncertainty to matches that already carry high stakes. What makes the upcoming run even more intriguing is the sense that Celtic have not yet produced a truly complete performance in recent weeks. Results have been encouraging, but many supporters would agree that the fluid, attacking football traditionally associated with the club has not fully clicked into place. There have been moments of quality, certainly, but perhaps not the sustained dominance that fans love to see. That does not necessarily mean the team are struggling. Sometimes during long seasons, sides find ways to grind out victories even when their rhythm is slightly off. In fact, those gritty wins can sometimes be just as valuable as the spectacular ones. They show resilience and determination, qualities that often prove decisive when championships are on the line. Even so, there is a feeling that Celtic still have another level to reach. If the attacking combinations begin to flow more naturally and the squad regain full fitness, the team could become significantly stronger during the closing weeks of the campaign. The possibility of playing just one match per week might help in that regard, allowing the coaching staff more time on the training ground to refine their ideas. The key, however, will be building momentum before the international break arrives. Victories against Motherwell and Dundee United would send the team into that pause with real confidence. Momentum in football can be a powerful thing, and a couple of positive results in succession often create a belief that spreads throughout the dressing room. There are also smaller stories around the football world that occasionally catch the attention of Celtic supporters. One curious example came recently during a match in the Asian Champions League, where two former Celtic players ended up scoring in the same game for different clubs. Yosuke Ideguchi found the net for Vissel Kobe, while Patrick Klimala scored for FC Seoul. What made the moment particularly unusual is that the two players were never actually teammates during their time at Celtic. Their spells at the club happened at different moments, meaning they likely crossed paths only briefly, if at all. Yet there they were, on the other side of the world, both leaving their mark on the same match. Moments like that often make fans reflect on how wide the football family truly is. Players move between leagues, continents, and cultures, but the connections between clubs remain. Somewhere in Glasgow, many Celtic supporters would have noticed those names on the scoresheet and smiled at the coincidence. Back in Scotland, attention has also been turning toward the final derby of the season. There has been considerable discussion about supporter allocations following recent tensions surrounding previous encounters. Some voices have suggested that the visiting allocation could be reduced or even removed altogether when the teams meet again later in the campaign. At the moment, the expectation appears to be that the usual away ticket numbers will remain in place. The derby atmosphere has always been defined in part by the presence of both sets of supporters, creating a noise and intensity that few other fixtures can match. While incidents in the past have sparked debate, there is also a strong argument that maintaining that balance preserves one of the most powerful spectacles in Scottish football. Before we proceed, subscribe to our channel and enable notifications to receive all exclusive news about Celtic FC. Don't miss any details about your favorite team. It's extremely important for Celtic FC fans. The mood around Celtic FC has suddenly lifted, and whispers around the club suggest supporters may have more reasons to feel optimistic heading into the next round of fixtures. While nothing has been formally confirmed, speculation is growing that three familiar and influential figures could play a part in the squad's plans, and their possible presence is already energizing the fan base. At the center of the conversation is the creative spark associated with JOTA. The Portuguese winger has long been admired by Celtic supporters for his flair, intelligence on the ball, and ability to unlock tight defenses. Rumors circulating around the training ground hint that his involvement, whether from the start or as an impact option, might be closer than many expected. Even the suggestion of JOTA returning to influence proceedings has been enough to ignite excitement among fans who remember how decisive he can be in high-pressure moments. Alongside him, the relentless energy of Daizen Maeda is another name being discussed. Known for his tireless pressing and blistering pace, Maeda's potential readiness has become a hot topic among supporters. Some insiders suggest the forward has looked sharp in preparation sessions, raising hopes that his intensity could once again play a crucial role in stretching opposing defenses and setting the tempo from the front. Perhaps the most intriguing rumor, however, surrounds Kieran Tierney. The defender remains a beloved figure among the Celtic faithful, and any suggestion of his involvement immediately sparks headlines and debate. Talk of Tierney possibly featuring in some capacity, even if only briefly, has stirred a wave of anticipation. His leadership, connection to the club and defensive reliability make him a symbol of Celtic's identity, and the mere possibility of seeing him influence proceedings again has supporters buzzing. None of these developments have been officially detailed by the club, and within the walls of Celtic Park there is the usual silence that accompanies match preparation. Yet football thrives on anticipation, and the idea that JOTA, MAEDA, and TIERNEY could all be part of the story has given the build-up a distinctly hopeful tone. Hello, fan. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, as it means a lot to Celtic FC. Also, share your opinion about the news in the comments below. See you in the next video.